Greetings, Shettigan Earthlings. June 25th, 2025. Like I said, my daddy's birthday. It is a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. So, like I said, I made it 3 years past what he got blessed with. So, I'm going to make the most of it. So, love myself to healthy. Best I can, every moment. Grateful. So another odd flow I've been having is 111. Of course it's 111. Greetings, salutations, yet again, earthlings. So, it is June 25th. 2025, my daddy's birthday, and I have made it 3 years longer than he got blessed with. So, and I'm surviving cancer. Cancer's what took him out. That was one of the things that I took the hardest because he was my rock, y'all. And that was a man that didn't go to the doctor. And he was the highest functioning alcoholic I think I've ever seen, honestly. He would, when he put that uniform on, there was something that just clicked in and he was instantly sober. And, yeah, seriously. And he did not lay out of work. He was one of those that even when he was at home, he was tinkering with something. There was always something. He was fixing something. He was building something. And there was nothing he couldn't do. Electrical, plumbing, mechanical, carpentry. He was a jack of all trades, really. Alright, one of the flows of thought that I have been having is the mosquitoes are bad out too. Keeps resonating within me. We are our ancestors. And there's something that echoed within me in a weird, odd way. Kind of like, because my mom's sister Laura Ella died when she was like 3 or 4, and Mom very much remembers her. Her and Laura Ella were closer than her and Aunt Jeannie, which, don't get me wrong, my Aunt Jeannie was wonderful, and Mom and her loved each other. But growing up, Aunt Jeannie up to my mom's very large and in charge and very out loud and very who she is, and she don't give a fuck who likes it and who don't like it. Whoop whoop. Pretty much was usually her school of thought on a lot of things. And Aunt Jeannie was always very ladylike, very prim, very glamorous. I mean, not that Mom wasn't glamorous, but Aunt Jeannie was very about the beauty part of things, and Mom's never met a stranger. Which Aunt Jeannie didn't either. But they were just, I guess Mom was just more tomboyish, I don't know, more comfortable around guys like me, of course. But I've got 2 older brothers, 4 actually, because 2 foster brothers. Alright, but anyway, Laura Ella reeled that thought back in. Something made an impression on me in one of my flows I don't know if it's a lucid dreaming thing or what it was, but the impression was when they say that we are our ancestors, there was something about Laura Ella came through the first several years of her life. She kind of experienced all of, helped guide me through my DNA in ways because I was always very open. My first memory was of the shining woman in my closet. I'm realizing now that shining woman was my higher self, was me all along. Any place I ever thought was haunted was me. Those houses I lived in, that was my higher self talking to me that whole time. And it was letting me know, this is not the way you are to do this, little girl. You quit this shit immediately, and you seek Father, and you tune in the right way. You're not to use those tools to achieve what you're trying to achieve. So, like I said, the first memory was of the shining woman in my closet. We lived in York, Pennsylvania. We were stationed at York, Pennsylvania because Dad was there recruiting. Okay. I was a baby in a crib. And then it would start at the night. It would start at a certain time. I don't know what time it would start. But it was like clockwork. I would start hearing the humming. This tuneless humming. I don't know if it varied or not. I can't remember that part. If I tune in, I could, but I don't want to tune in. But it started with humming, and I knew she was coming. And then it was the closet, one of those that if the door opened, well, it closed the closet door because the closet was right behind. To get to the closet, you had to close the bedroom door. So she would creak the bedroom door and the closet door open enough so that she could come out and go around the doors and out into the hall. And as she went out, she didn't do it in the bedroom, my bedroom. She would wait until she stepped into the hallway, and then she would flicker the lights on and off. But she was like a short little Victorian. She had like a lace gown up to here and down to here. She looked like my grandmother that died, that I went to her funeral. Wow. Are we living there? No. My grandmother that called my mom Bobby, my granddad Silas, Malcolm May's mom. Anyway, it's all a part of my love team and my higher self. So, there was something about that when I had gone to the beach and I had drowned. Well, I didn't really drown. I went under and then I was lifted up and kept held up until the family's dad that I went swimming with came out and got me. Him and a young Marine finally made it out because I had gone out jumping waves with his 13-year-old daughter. She got knocked down and spun around underneath. And of course, I bobbed on over and like a duck to water. I was just floating along, watching the clouds make pictures in the sky and just floating around, loving life. And I popped up. It's like, well, I hadn't seen anybody in a while. Where she went? And I popped up and I heard commotion on the beach and they were freaking out looking for me. So I made myself a target. So I treaded water, held myself upright and waving my hands and stuff. And they spotted me, but as I'm floating around, little 7-year-old, I don't know, something like that. I think it was 7. Anyway, tired me out. So third time I went under, I just released. And I remember looking up at the sky and telling Jesus and Father, it's like, well, it's a beautiful way to go, because all I could see was all the beautiful water around me and the sunlight coming through the water. And I just, I love you, Father. Your will be done. And I just remember that kind of feeling. That release, and when I did, all of a sudden there was hands lifted me up underneath my armpits and held me. My chest never went that far below the water. I got splashed a little bit in the face by some waves slapping at me. But mainly, my hair was almost completely dry by the time they come got me. I was held upright until they came got me. Anyway, there was something about that incident that I got impressed upon while I was meditating. And like I said, I don't know if it's a lucid dream or what, but my Aunt Laura Ella came through, and it was almost like in the domino effect of things, I had to die at that age for you to be saved here. And that is how it was an unfair thing that I died and didn't get to enjoy it, but I'm going to enjoy your life through you. And then everyone that has passed over of my loved ones, they come through strong all the time. They're always on my side helping me. Like that car wreck I had. Y'all look, I always thought when my dad passed it, me and him, the dad apparently, he's pretty busy. But the one time I had a car wreck that led to the way the cancer was found. I had a car wreck, and it was one of those crappy little small-sized Mustangs when they changed them up. They were light in the ass, man. They hydroplaned bad. Anyway, when they changed the modeling of the Mustangs, it was like a 80s model, something like that. Anyway, it was a convertible. It was my mom's car. So I worked third. I had her car. And it had started raining, it had just started sprinkling. The speed limit was 55, and the curve coming up to slow down to 45. Well, I had taken my foot off of the gas, and I was doing like 42 as I spotted the slow down caution sign. So I had taken, and I knew not to touch the brakes. So I was slowing down. I had plenty of time. But it was a double S curve. So the first curve was doing great. Hit a little puddle and the ass end broke loose. Well, I didn't mess with it. I let it come out. But when I went to go into the second curve, I had just come out of it, and I was fixing to try to get things situated, and I saw another car coming. She was fixing to go into the curve that I was trying, just got straightened up, and I could still feel it was it wasn't really ready to go into another curve yet. I needed to slow down, and I was going to do that, but with her coming and that curve coming up. So I hit another puddle, and it broke loose again, and I saw, I hyper-focused in onto the baby's car seat and and it's like, Lord, if I don't move this, I'm scared I'm going to hit them. So your will be done. And I moved the wheel, and when I did, off I went, and I halfway up this tree, it hit and boom, halfway up the tree, and then flipped me, and it was convertible. If my kids had been with me, it'd have killed them. and I was smoking a cigarette. And when I flipped, the cigarette went somewhere, and when I flipped, all you could smell was gas everywhere. And I couldn't get the seatbelt undone. And the cigarette, all I could see was the smoke, and I couldn't get to it to get it out, and all I could smell was gas everywhere. And I couldn't get the seatbelt out. And I was starting to really panic and freak out bad. And all of a sudden, I felt my father behind me in the car. I could feel his presence in the car. And he impressed on my soul. And it was him, his essence, his voice, everything. But it was not said out loud. I felt it in my soul. And he says, "You're all right, baby. You can be okay." And when he said, "You're all right, baby," I felt from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, a cool air of calm, just whoosh. And about that time, one of the fellas I was dating at the time was following me back to my house because we were going to drop the car off and go from there. Anyway. Because it was time to pick the kids up from school anyway. The school bus was dropping them off. I was trying to get there before the school bus. Anyway, 3 days before that, for some odd reason, he had a notion to put these high-grade scissors in his toolkit in his car. And when somehow, some way, because it was flipped upside down, somehow, some way, he managed to lift that car up and yank that door open. And I was hanging there, and he couldn't get it undone either. So he's like, "Hold on," and he ran back to his car and got those those heavy-duty scissors and cut the seatbelt and cut me out of there. That was scary as fuck too. I'm not even gonna lie. That was. But yeah, that's the only time my dad came through. He comes through now in small ways, but intensely, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, he was absolutely, undoubtedly. So, but he mostly, Dad's always been like that with me though. Watching me energetically from a distance. Like that time he caught me in the closet. He came home early both times. And he was not usually... Dad didn't take his vacations, y'all. He took the money for him. He says, "Instead of me taking a vacation, pay me. I'll use the money." So reasoning behind that is, what are you into, buddy? But anyway, yeah, he wasn't one to take vacations and things like that. So, why am I bringing that up? Oh, because he just didn't, if it was a weekend, he was home or he was doing stuff. He might be at the staff club or we were going fishing, we were doing something. Something was going on somewhere. And, the weekdays, he went to work, he'd go to the staff club. We might see him at about, well, it depends. If Mom was off and we were going to have dinner, well, he'd come home. But no. So him coming home early was abnormal. And he knew he knew I was in that closet playing where I shouldn't have been. And he was determined I was going to learn a lesson, and he knew my little monkey butt. And as soon as he told me not to do it, he knew. I'm not even kidding y'all. I hadn't been in there 10 minutes. I was just getting good and started dragging and strewing into her stuff. I was getting good and comfortable and not getting caught. So, and sure enough, I was mid-strewing in ways I couldn't put up quick. Caught red-handed. Yeah. Like I said, just him being disappointed at me. Him looking at me and seeing him cry because y'all, that tore me up worse than any spanking my mama ever gave me. Whatever. So I'm always just one of those soft-hearted people. As if I know I did something wrong, well, I'm harder me than anybody else. I got to answer to God for me, y'all. That's important to me. You know? And I am determined I'm gonna be the best, most beautiful reflection of all my ancestors I can. Yeah, I experienced some shitty experiences with a lot of people that claim they love me. Because I had lessons I had to learn, apparently. But even those people that I learned all those hard lessons from, they did have good qualities. Ah! Oh no! He has found the leavings of a dead squirrel or rabbit, or I gotta go. I gotta go. He's determined to traumatize me today. I don't want to look all of that. Don't you touch me. Don't you breathe on me with your dead carcass eating doggo uck. I can't or they cannot. Ew, y'all. Anyway, I love y'all. I guess it's a day of reminiscing but yeah, the good things. Learn the lessons from them and remember your people with a kindness. Understand they were having a human experience and they were here to learn lessons and set things in motions that had to be set in motion. It's for us to be exactly who we are at exactly the right time, doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing for whatever reason. So hold your light and be kind. Starting with yourselves, babies.